Hello, viewers. We're taking a deep dive into one of my favorite genres, racing games. The recent explosion in popularity of VR headsets makes this the perfect time to discuss the current state of racing simulations. With a VR headset, you can become even more immersed in a genre all about simulating reality, allowing you to become a race car driver, if only in your living room. In case you're unsure, let me define racing sims. A racing simulator attempts to recreate real-world conditions with extreme accuracy. The player must grapple with some of the challenges of real racing, including fuel consumption, tire wear, and vehicle damage. These games can even contain realistic courses or high-fidelity versions of real tracks and circuits. Arcade racing simulators started with the 1974 classic Speed Race. This arcade cabinet included a wheel, gear shifting, and a gas pedal. If you're old enough to remember this game, Midway rebranded it as Wheels in the US. Here's The Driver. It sticks out as the first one that took simulation perhaps too seriously. A film was projected on a screen, and the player had to match wheel and acceleration inputs. In the 80s, pole position was a huge success and dominated the arcade market. It's important because it's the first racing game to feature a real racing circuit and a qualifying lap. It's no surprise Atari advertised it as having unbelievable driving realism. One of the arcade cabinets even included a brake pedal. DX1, however, brought the realism literally into the hands of the gamer by including steering wheel vibration and forcing drivers to downshift during turns. Most interesting, it had 3 screens, which some advanced setups still mimic today. In 1997, Gran Turismo was released for the PlayStation 1. It was my first introduction to racing simulators, and I could not get enough. It had a ton of real cars, and a simulation mode that forced you to complete challenges to get licenses. These licenses taught you how to corner and other racing strategies. I still remember learning to corner in a slow as hell Honda Del Sol. Gran Turismo also included vehicle tuning. You could buy part upgrades and adjust the gear ratio, ride height, and downforce before a race. This was probably too much for my little kid brain. Today, iRacing, Project Cars, and Assetto Corsa take realism to the next level. Beyond better graphics, racing games have improved largely in thanks to other technological advancements. The racetracks are more realistic because of contributions from Google Street View and laser scanning like Tesla's self-driving radar. For instance, iRacing laser scans 300 feet of track at a time in 1 hour. It can take them up to 80 hours to scan an entire track. That's crazy. While I don't think a simulator can prepare you to become a racing driver, with this technology, it could really help you learn to track. This improvement isn't in the game, but racing wheels have been completely redone. The newer controllers have incredible force feedback. That isn't the vibration you feel in the console controllers, that's haptic feedback. These wheels act like a real wheel and provide aligning torque. If you've driven a car, you know the car wants its wheels to be in the center. Think about how the wheels act after a turn when you let go. With motors in the wheel, it acts the same way and provides resistance. The wheels also react to bumps on the road. It's like driving a real car. Considering the tech required for this kind of simulation, you can imagine how much it can cost for a home setup. It ranges from $500 for a quality wheel you can mount on your desk to $25,000 for an entire cockpit. One of the force feedback wheels, AccuForce, actually has so much torque, it can't be mounted on wood. Here's some footage from Marcel, who creates videos called Mixed Reality. He projects what is shown in his Oculus Rift onto a green screen, allowing to see his point of view. I think this gives a very good representation of what kind of experience you can have with VR. Looking over your shoulder to make sure a car isn't coming when you merge, In my opinion, this is the next level of immersion for racing games. Can you get any closer than being the driver? I don't think so. For gamers new to the sport, the first game to try is Forza Motorsport 6 Apex, with the caveat that you have Windows 10 and can stomach the Windows Store. The main reason? It's free! It's actually free! And it's quite good looking. It has a lot of options to customize how much of a simulation you want to experience. These options make it great for new racers to customize. It's a pretty good way to dip your toes into the simulation water without getting too wet. Unfortunately, it's more about score attack and pushing DLC on you, so it can be kind of annoying. If Forza isn't going to work out for you, or you're ready to commit a little money, Project Cars is next on my list. Project Cars is fantastic. It has many driving assist options, like Forza, and a great introduction to get you started. It's usually around $30, but I've seen it for $10. I think it's worth it. It has 100 courses and 74 cars, which is plenty of content to get you started. I prefer the driving and car options in Project Cars, and if you have the money, you won't regret it. If you're ready to go for broke, buy a wheel, and start racing online, then iRacing is for you. It has a monthly subscription, but for a good reason. You're not playing a game at this point, you're starting a career. You must prove yourself by racing with no accidents or losing control. This allows you to race in more advanced courses and compete at higher levels. A cockpit view is your only choice here, and using a gamepad will actually put you at a serious disadvantage. Unfortunately, at the subscription price, only 14 courses and 13 cars are available. More vehicles and tracks need separate purchases. It's kind of a downer. Several real racing drivers have subscribed and spoken to the accuracy of the tracks though. iRacing is for serious petrol heads. What do you think? Gonna give simulation racing a shot? I had no idea racing technology had come so far. I really want a place I can go with my friends, where several top-of-the-line cockpits are set up, and then we can just race around the virtual track. The barrier for entry financially is pretty high on some of these setups. I'm dying to try one though. I'm also curious if anyone has tried racing in VR here. What do you think? How does it feel? Is it amazing? Did I miss any cool tech? What improvements do you think racing games will have in the future? Well, if you watched this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.